Hi, this is Zach with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 6th of November. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still enjoying its Sakir Starmer rally. Obviously, a wonderful rally that we've got, record breaking territory and everything else. 98.40 now, the top of that channel, that resistance line projection there from June. And we're heading with that hopefully later this month while we're above recent support and old resistance at 95.77 on an end of day close basis. If there is a rug pull, then we're looking for the floor of the channel there, 9400, which is basically the 50-day moving average and that uptrend line there. Bit early to maybe go for the next level up, but I suppose it could be if you're an optimist up towards the line, the resistance line projection I've drawn there, 10,200, although that sounds rather far-fetched at the moment. It could actually be something that is on tap, given the way that the lower part of that potential red channel there does tie in with the low that we had earlier this week. So it could actually be, depending on exactly what the right angle is there, a potential target for early in the new year. But at least 98.40 or so, the initial target there, while we're above that uptrend line, certainly around 96.50. Moving along to the DAX, and here we've got a situation where managed to consolidate at the lower levels, basically bouncing off the floor of that channel there from back in April. The floor of the channel there around 23,700, and above that, hoping that we can break that resistance line there from last month towards the 24,100 level. If we can do that, then we might be on track again for retesting the highs and then heading to the top of the channel there, 26,100 currently, which I suppose is an end of year target. Upside valid, at least while we're above the floor of the channel, but can't rule out a rug pull as we had back in April at the 200-day moving average, 23,300. RSI below neutral 50 at 47, which is perhaps the only real negative at the moment, given that we're back above the 50-day moving average. So if you're a cautious bull, you wait for a break of 24,100 and a break of RSI 50 before assuming we are on our way again. The Dow is next, and here we have a situation where we're basically found support at the initial October resistance around 47,000. Above that, looking at the top of the channel from May last year, as high as 48,300. RSI 50 plus rebound, so we're sort of resuming or retouching that support line there in the RSI window. Very strange one, actually. But that one in the mid 50s, around 55, bounced off that. So that does suggest we're ready for a fresh leg to the upside towards 48,000, now 300, sometime later this month. Rug pull would be the 50-day line, 46,300. Moving on to the cryptos, and starting off with Bitcoin, which is obviously still below the floor of that rising trend channel from March, which is not a good look. We bounced off oversold RSI 30, which is a better look, but so far failing at 103. Which is a basic now. That was the support for last month. That's now become new resistance, which is not a great look. Basically, we need to get back above 103 on an end of day close basis. Otherwise, it's 98,000 again for this market. You can see below that, nothing really between 98 and 93, which would certainly not be very good for the Bitcoin Treasury Strategy Brigade. On the upside, the 200-day line at 110, they're best on offer from the current position. Ethereum is next, and here it did what we didn't want it to do, which was to retest the August support there around 33.50. We're just about above that now, and just above the 50-day moving average at 33.70 or so, but or rather the 200-day moving average at 33.70. On the upside, the best case at the moment would be the old broken April resistance line there that were just shy of 3,800, but not really in a good place at the moment. The only plus point is that we actually are still above the 200-day line, but there will be resistance, and there has been resistance around 35.80, which was the October support for this market. Moving along to gold, and here the wind taken out of the sails of the recent rally, but we are consolidating in a good place, i.e. Actually consolidating at the top of the old rising trend channel there, the black one there from back in April, so that's around 39.80. Above that, we've got recent resistance at 40. 41.60, and then resistance on the way down 41.70, but not expecting anything higher than 41.70 at least for a while, and we may still struggle around that 40.50, 40.60 area for a little while. RSI configuration okay, but still not quite enough to get us out of this little range that we've been in at the moment between 3,900 and 40.50. Moving on to the stocks, and great news for Asiamet today. The shares finally doing what we wanted them to do, which was hit that 1.4 pence target. Above that, we have the upper parallel of that from back in 2024, heading for 2.2 pence, which has obviously been hit intraday. In fact, 2.21 the high, which is quite amazing. Above that, if we do get lucky and go a bit higher, then up to 2.5 pence is the best in the near term. Obviously, we pulled back from the news today that the company has sold its interests in the KSK project for £80 million, which compares interestingly with the market cap at the moment of just under 39 million. So maybe you can work out what the market's logic is on that at the moment. But in fact, market cap shown here is 58, not 38. So maybe that's a little bit better for shareholders. Shares up 132% this year, so looking rather good now, rather late in the year. Next on the list is a stock that hopefully will, not quite, I don't think it'll be quite as spectacular as that, but I think there has been a lifting on the ban of uranium mining in Sweden, and that's helped Aura Energy. Probably would have expected it to help it rather more, but we've got a rising trend channel there. 14.5 pence, that's what we're looking for by the end of this month, while we're above 10 pence, which is the floor of the latest gap. I'm amazed that Ceres Power has just kept on going, and in fact has hit now the third target there. I was actually quite amazed that it actually hit the first target around 175. Second target seemed impossible at £2.60, and the third one now just hit around the £4 level. In fact, the high today, 4.05. So amazing, really, and obviously trying to work out what the next target would be. But in the meantime, a bit of a lap of honour, I suppose. We'd be looking at the upper parallel of that third line there, which is currently heading towards 525. But let's get an end of day close through £4 before we can start dreaming of that kind of upside. On to Frontier Developments, which seems to be enjoying itself with the latest news regarding, I think it's Planet Zoo and Jurassic Park or something, Jurassic World rather, Evolution. But the company obviously doing very well on that, and we've hit the first target there at the top of the rising trend channel around 520. Above that, looking for as high as 660 by the end of this month. So it really looks as though that is re-rating rapidly. At this stage, only back below 540, and recent resistance really delaying the upside scenario. Focusrite is next, which seems to be doing rather well as well. Here you can see we've got this beautiful U-shaped, sort of scallop-shaped turnaround. We've broken recent resistance around £2.36, looking for £3 by the end of this month. The current rate of progress, but as we said, that is a work of art, especially with the way that the turnaround there is a work of art, especially with the way that we've actually gapped up on the right-hand side, which we did on the 24th of last month. And you can see those candles very strong indeed. It looks as though, I mean, if there was a takeover of the company, which sort of fits the niche it's in, this would be the right chart for that to happen. Moving along to the situation at another massive winner, which is Guardian Metal. And here you can see that we bounced above the rising 50-day line and to start November, which is always a good thing, and RSI in the low 50s as well. So looking for the shares to not only break recent resistance around the 116 level, 115 level in fact, but retest the recent highs around 140 plus by the end of this month. In fact, an end of day close through 115 should be enough to give us a retest of that peak at 146 one more time. On to Greatland, which is another massive winner, obviously, and here we're bouncing off a rising 50-day line for the second time. Resistance there to break at £3.73. If we can do that sometime soon, maybe in the next week or so, then we're looking for a retest of the 430 level that we had back in October. Obviously, the gold price, as we've been looking at, is a factor there in terms of whether we can get there sooner rather than later. But the rising trend channel there from this time last year looks like the thing to go with over the near term. On to GCM, where I had very high hopes. Not the shares didn't quite get as high as I was hoping, but no one's perfect. Looking for 10 pence, and I think we went to 7 to 8 pence, something like that. Current situation is that we are in a rising trend channel, and we bounced above the rising 200-day line, so that gives us the chance again to maybe hit the 8 pence zone by the end of this year. Big bounce today for Helios Towers, and here you can see that managed to break the top of that rising trend channel. We are now looking for a fresh leg to the upside up to 207, and we'll see whether the shares can deliver after today's very strong update from the company and a share buyback program as well. So above the old target there on around £1.70, looking for up to £2.05 by the end of the year, by the end of next month. On to Hydrogen Utopia, where the shares have gone up again. I think it's the third day in a row now, and delivering on the sideways shuffle above a rising 50-day moving average, multiple RSI 50 rebounds there, and also pushing through recent £2.10 resistance. Initial target here, 2.75 pence, and best case would be up to the top of that triangle there from back in January, as high as 4 pence, which is obviously retested June resistance. Be looking for that by the end of next month. What's interesting here, I suppose, is that if there is no placing, which perhaps the company doesn't need anymore, if it has the deals that it's looking for, then one would expect a revisit of the June peak sooner rather than later. Finishing off with Verici, and here you can see that we got shares in a rising trend channel base. We come back from the best levels of last month, but bounce well from below a rising 50-day line there at 0.67. So looking for a retest of the 0.95 pence area, hopefully by the end of next month or even sooner. Obviously, we don't want any fresh lows here below 0.6. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.